Hey everybody, it's Millie with Crafting in My PJs. Today is a Sunday video, so we are not crafting today. Nope. We are talking about training for Disney's Wine and Dine. So we are now on week 14. There it is, week 14. We have 18 weeks left of training before the week of Wine and Dine. So if you are training for the half, you should be well on your way in the Jeff Galloway, if that's what you're using, training program. If you're doing 10K or 5K, you're training, but you're not maybe adding quite as many miles like you would have to do, obviously, for the half. Now, I don't know about y'all. I live in the South. It is hot out there. I am having a heck of a time training with this heat. In fact, I didn't make it out any day this week because it's like 100 degrees. So I've got a plan for next week. I'm actually going to treadmill. I'm going to try to use the treadmill. Not my favorite. I don't like the treadmill, but I need to train. Now, some people love the treadmill, and if you are a treadmill person, please try to do some of your training out on the street. There is a difference in your running. There is a difference in your walking, whether you're on the treadmill or you're on the street. So really try to incorporate both in your training. Just saying. All right. So this week I was going to talk about how to keep going. But you know what? I need something more fun. So I decided instead of talking about how to keep going, maybe we should talk about something fun like what happens race weekend. Now, if you've done a Disney race before, then maybe some of this is redundant. But if you've never done a Disney race before, then maybe some of this is very important for you to know. So let's get started. So the first thing is when you make your travel plans, you need to make sure you arrive in Disney, in Orlando, before your race day. So if you're running the 5K, and that is on Friday, then you need to arrive on Thursday, and you need to arrive early enough to get to the expo before it closes, which I think is 6, but don't quote me. We'd have to look at the website and make sure. And prior to race day, they do publish a pamphlet digitally, and it goes through all of the times. It goes through where the water stops are. It goes through the race route. It goes through all of that. So you need to get to the expo. So our flight is literally 5:30 a.m. on Thursday, because we want to make sure that, and 5:30 here, so it gets me there, I think it's 7:30. Gives us enough time to get to our hotel. There is transportation. If you're staying at a Disney resort, there will be transportation to the expo. The expo is held at the ESPN Sports Center, part of the Disney complex. And so there will be a bus to take you there. And the expo is quite fun. So try and save some time that you can actually spend time at the expo. Well, why do you need to go to the expo? You need to pick up your race bib. Here is my race bib from the very last one I ran. So you're going to pick up your race packet. It has to be you. It cannot be your sister, your friend, your daughter. It has to be you. You have to show up with a picture ID and pick up your race packet. They have issues with people stealing bibs. And so so every now and then they really clamp down on the security. The last one I did in 2019, I had to show a picture ID and they took my picture. So a couple of steps to try and secure that the people who registered actually get their bib. So your race bib, and it'll be all inside of this big plastic bag, clear plastic bag. And it has like strings, and it's kind of like you can wear it like crossbody. It's huge though. That plastic bag is very important because if you bring anything to the race, like a backpack or I don't know, another pair of shoes or something, that has to go in this clear bag, and it has to be checked in before you get on the race route. The only thing you can really carry with you on the race route, race belt, maybe some race nutrition, water bottle, but you can't, anything big and bulky goes in this bag and is checked. So that bag is important. Also in the bag will be your race t-shirts. For every race you registered for, you will have a t-shirt. So 5K, 10K, half, and challenge. So a possibility of 4 t-shirts. I can tell you this, the t-shirts, in my opinion, run a little small. I always order a size larger. All the races I have been to at Disney, the race t-shirts have been very bright, very colorful, and they are made out of the performance material. And so I find them a little on the snug side. So I like a little room. I like to be able to move. So even when I don't usually wear them for a race. Some people do. But so you'll have your t-shirt, you'll have your race bib, which the bib's important because that gets you into the area to get to the race, and it has your corral on it where you're starting. So this was for the Fairy Tale Challenge. I don't know if I would have gotten a separate one if I had done the 5K. I'm not sure. But it tells me, so for the 10K, I was in Corral C, and then for the half, I was in Corral F. And that's very important where you start. You know, it's alphabetical. Say I was in Corral C, but my friend was in Corral B. I would not be able to go up to B with her, but she could come backwards to a lower category at Corral and come with me. So those corrals are quite important. All right, so you're going to pick this up. Sometimes there's goodies in the bag, you know. Sometimes there's the applesauce. Sometimes one year we had the bib boards that secure your bib to your shirt or your pants without pins. One year that was in there. So there's sometimes some goodies in there. And then you have the expo. And the expo is just like any running kind of expo. It's huge. There's lots of booths to look at. There's lots of things you can buy. So say you didn't get your race nutrition ahead of time. I guarantee you'll be able to find it there. There'll be different booths with sports beans and with the goo and with the new NUU, the salt stuff, the electrolyte. There'll be plenty of that. Jeff Galloway has a booth. The first year we went, my niece was with us, and she fangirled over Jeff Galloway. Had to take her picture with Jeff Galloway. It was a thing. So there's lots of things to look at. There's lots of booths that have tutus and running skirts and decorated t-shirts and blingy headbands and ears and like racing headbands, but that have the like a little tiara on them. So if you don't get your costume together prior to the race, you certainly could find something to wear there if you wanted to. So the expo is fun. And then you're going to go back to your hotel and you're going to, I don't know, I go back to my hotel and I eat nutritiously and I chill, and I am in bed for 8:30 trying to go to sleep because the races are for 5 a.m. When I was running them, the buses started running at 3 a.m. And you do not want to wait until 4:30 to get on a bus, because that's just too late. You have no time. So I was in line when the buses started running, and there are buses from all of the resorts that take you to the race site. Now, if you want to take your car, or you want to be dropped off or Ubered or whatever, you can do that. You can. I prefer to take the bus, and that gets me there. I stay on site just for that reason. So now you get off the bus in the dark, and you walk with everybody else to the first station, and it's a little bit of a walk, which is going to be the bag check. There's going to be security check. So any bags you have with you have to be checked, just like if you're getting into a Disney park. So then once you leave that, you enter into the first section of the race arena. And that you'll see not much going on. But if you have a friend who's not running and they come with you, or a partner, they can actually come with you as far as this point. And they can hang with you in this first section. And I don't remember if it was the first or second section. There was a Joffrey's coffee truck the last race I ran. There's definitely, by the second section, there's going to be a med tent. There will be water. There will be, in the med tent, there was biofreeze. I always made sure I lathered up the places that or traditionally hurt me before we even started. There's porta potties. There's tons and tons and tons of porta potties. Now, you need to make sure, like when you get to, I think you have to check your bag. Either in that, yes, that clear bag, you're going to have to check. Don't put anything you want for the race in that bag. So your bib, by this point, needs to be attached to your person. So most people wear them on their shirt. Some people wear them on their, if they wear like leggings, they'll be on their leggings. They need to be visible. You want your numbers to show. Number one, they want you to. But number two, they're going to be taking photos all along. And so the photos will be on your app on the phone. They'll come to you on the Disney app. And so you can, if you have PhotoPass, you can then download them. If you don't have PhotoPass, you can purchase them. It's up to you. So that's important that your numbers are visible. So once you're finished with whoever's come with you, you say goodbye, they leave or wherever they're going to go, and you then enter into the second area prior to the race. And you'll see a lot of people, and people are there. They're usually chit-chatting, taking pictures. There's photo ops. There's usually some entertainment. There's music. There's usually a character photo place. You stand in line for that. And then usually people are kind of nibbling on a breakfast or something prior to the race. When you get closer to when the race is actually going to start, then you're going to move into your corral. I don't know how 5K runs, but for 10K, the corral is pretty short walk because there's less corrals. But for the half, for the princess, it was a pretty decent walk. It was like over a half a mile to walk to the corrals, and the corrals are much larger, more people. So once you're ready to go stand in your corral, and once you're in there, you really can't leave and mingle around. So you want to be ready to go, but you also don't want to wait. I kind of have this thing where I like to get in my corral and I like to weed my way as far to the front as I possibly can, because I somehow think that is going to help me stay further ahead of those darn balloon ladies in the back. If you are running anything higher than a 5K, there are balloon ladies, and if you go too slow, you can be swept up. And people do get swept up, and it's not a horrible thing. It just happens, you know? So I try to get I don't know, I think it's something about getting further up. I can only get a certain degree. It's very crowded. It's You are shoulder to shoulder with other people. Lots of people wearing costumes, lots of things to take pictures of. So you will look at your race bib and it will tell you what corral you're going to. And you go to that corral and you wait in that corral. Now, the reason you're in different corrals is they stagger the release. So 5 a.m. and they have like MCs that are talking and keeping you entertained and music. And at 5 a.m. when they start to release the corrals, and of course that A group, those are those elite runners. I'll never get to that A group, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. So those elite runners, they head out first. So there's fireworks every time they let a corral go, and you kind of know it's about every 8 minutes they release the next corral, and that's to try and keep that crowd as dispersed as possible. Now, once you're released, it's still pretty crowded in the beginning, and then things start to weed out and you start to get a little bit more comfortable. I tend to stay to the right, and I tend to run in the grass because I find there's less people in the grass. You know, they're all on the sidewalk. So if I feel too overwhelmed by people around me, I will move to the grassy area. But you have to be really careful because there are things in the grass. So what about, before we go any further, what about weather? Well, I think light rain, they still run the race. So make sure you have a hat or something. Freezing cold, unless it's icy, they still run the race. So sometimes you will see people start a race and they will have jackets, they will have blankets. And so a popular thing to do is to go to Goodwill or any kind of thrift store and grab a jacket or a fleece blanket or whatever, and it's a throwaway. So then you get on the race route and you start to move, and boy, you start to warm up, right? So you throw it on the side. So all along the side of the race route, you're going to see discarded jackets and blankets. And what the race people do is they collect that up and redonate it to thrift stores. So that's kind of a nice thing, to charity stores. So you will see that happen. All right, so you run in the race. Every mile, they're going to have a photo op. So there will be lines. Make sure you're very careful. I'm always too scared to stand in line because I don't want the balloon ladies to sweep me up. But if you are a fast enough runner and you can sprint in between, you can stand in lines and wait for those photo ops. They're going to have a water station pretty much every mile, at least in the longer races. They definitely will have a water station. And there are Powerades, usually cups of Powerade. So if it's a Powerade station, there's also going to be water too, because I can't always drink the Powerades. There will be lines of porta potties all along in different spots along the race route. So feel comfortable that you can take care of business if it arises. I always wait till in the Princess, I waited till I got to Epcot and I went into a bathroom in Epcot. Still had to wait, but not quite as long because it's further along the route. There will be high school bands playing music. There will be certain areas where spectators will be out waving and cheering and holding up adorable signs and giving you high fives and encouraging you to go. So it's a very encouraging situation. That's for sure. They are there to get you across that finish line. It's wonderful. All right, so you run your race. I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure I got everything in there. There are med tents too, spaced out. Now, when they come out with the digital pamphlet before the race, it'll show you on the map where all these stations are, if that's important to you, that you have that. they will ask you, or they write it in the thing, not to wear headphones, because in case you need to hear something. Everyone still wears headphones, but make sure your what is that word? Oh, I forgot it. The turns off all the sound. Make sure that's turned off so you can still hear. So a lot of people run with the bone conduction, the shocks, because they don't cover up their ears and they still get their music. So, you know, that's one of those reasons. All right, so you run your race. You get to see all the sights. You can stop and take pictures. Remember our etiquette. Go back and look at that etiquette video we talked about. Don't just stop in the middle of the street. There will be like boom, boom, boom. People will run into you. Pull over to the side. Aim your camera and take your picture, but then gradually merge back into the crowd. So yeah, I always find somebody with a tutu I like, and I follow them for most of the race. I mean, you do all kinds of tricks to get yourself along the route. All right, so then you're going to cross that finish line, and you're going to be so happy, and and there will be like people would be taking your photos all along. You'll notice that because they'll be in those green, like tent kind of looking things. All right, so you're going to get to the finish line. You're going to cross the finish line. One of the first things they'll hand you is your bling. Now, it's not going to be this bling because this is actually the challenge bling. It will be whatever race you're running. So if it's a 10K or a 5K, it'll be that bling. You'll get water. You'll get the Gatorade or Powerade. And then you will come up to the infamous Disney snack box that they give you at the end of every race. Now, if you've had them before, you either love them or you hate them. It just depends. Some people get rid of them. Some people refuse to take them. Other people like me take them and eat what they like out of it. I mean, it's not I like them. There's always bananas. There will be a med tent, so if you need some ice, by this point you can get some ice, or I guess BioFreeze is probably there. Very minor medical issues they will handle. And then if it's a challenge, if you're doing a challenge and it's the second race in the challenge, the end of the challenge, then there will be a tent with computers. And you will go over to one of those attendants, and they will make sure, they will verify that you finished the first race and now you finished the second race. And then that's when you will get your challenge medal. So the medals are very nice. I have to say they're some of the nicest ones that I have gotten at races. I really liked it. All right. And so you come out into, again, sort of a first area where you can kind of recuperate. And then when you're ready, you can go in between the first area and the second recovery area. You will pick up your bag, your clear plastic bag that you checked, if you checked one. I don't bring one. I'm not checking anything. I don't know. I say that, but you never know. I might end up checking something. I don't know. So, and then you go into the second area, which is kind of a general public area. So anybody that's with you that comes to meet you at the end of the race, I don't ever have anybody. Or if you're racing with a friend and y'all are separated, that's a good place to meet up. And so you can recuperate some more in the general public area. And then when you're done, you just go to a bus or wherever the ride share area is where they dropped you off. So, and that's it. That's like your race, and that you will rinse and repeat for any subsequent races after that. Make sure you eat well. Make sure you rest. Make sure you ice. May I go back to the room? I take a nap. I ice my knees. I ice my feet. Believe it or not, like I have trouble with my feet. I guess from the heat and everything and the running, like my hands will swell. So a lot of times I have my rings off, or I have one of those rubber rings on. So my hands will swell. That's normal. but my feet will swell too. And so especially if I'm doing a longer race like the half, I have had issues where literally the tops of my feet are sort of bruised. I guess from hitting the tops of my shoes. I don't know. Gives me trouble for a couple of days and then I'm fine. So I ice a lot of things down. I rest. I am not a park goer after a race, especially if I have to race the next day. I'm old, y'all. I need to recuperate. But some people do. Some people are just troopers and they're out there. And that's it. That is the fun of the weekend. Some people leave Disney the day of the last race they run. Some people stay a day or more after, and it's just up to you what you would like to plan to do. All right, so that's the race weekend. Just make sure you're there in time to pick up your packet from the expo. You cannot pick up your race packet the morning of the race. You cannot. You have to get it the day before. That's a big thing. That's important. All right, so that's it. That's it for that. I have my quote for the week. Look, I haven't done my page yet, and I can tell you this. You know, I do these videos for me on Sunday to keep me motivated, to keep going, and to like sort of verify that I'm doing something. And well, last week I did not. I made it to one exercise class. That's it. That's it. The heat got to me. I was discouraged and I gave up. I'm not doing that this week. I am getting out there. I've already got my workout mornings set up. Now, you do have 4th of July mixed in there, and that might mess up your schedule. So make sure you look at your schedule. All right. So, our quote for the week. I think it's quite appropriate. And I do these ahead of time sometimes, so I'm kind of... All right, it says, of course it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. If it were easy, everybody would do it. Hard is what makes it great. And I didn't write who it was by, so it must have not been, when I searched, it must have not been there. So it is hard. It's hard to get up and go. It's hard to get up and train. It's hard to get up and go out in the heat of the day and do those miles. But if it was easy, everyone would be there and everybody would have one of these, and it would not make it as special as it is. So that's it. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful week. Get out there. Hit the treadmill. Don't go on the pavement. It's too hot. Hit the treadmill. Get your workouts in. Have an awesome 4th of July. And I will see you next Sunday. Next Sunday, I think we're going to talk about costumes because I need to really be more excited. All right, so costumes next week. Bye.